Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin on Tuesday, February 2nd, around 8:50 a.m. and I'm coming here off the subway on my way to work. It will be washed out. The lighting is interesting. When that's a photograph, that's pretty spectacular. And I've been taking a photograph, actually two quick pictures, pretty much every morning when I come up out of the subway. This morning will be an exception because I'm shooting the video. The view is just so spectacular and never-endingly subtly different. I forget who that artist was who did the painting after painting of the same cathedral. Monet or Manet, one of them I think. Anyway, it's a lot like that, very artistic and painterly, and I'm thinking I might do a art project as a maybe montage of all of those, making up a picture of the larger one, you know, those, I forget what they're called, but when you zoom in, the components are tiny versions of the larger picture or some themed variation thereof. That kind of software is becoming more accessible. That used to take so much processing power, and now it's coming down to being like a phone app potentially soon. Well, anyway, I'm diverging. I guess what I wanted to talk about is my dad used to talk about this very walk coming up out of Penn Station and all the people around you walking like herds of cattle or ants marching around, and how you had to make sure you weren't caught going against the flow because they're just coming like a stampede towards you across the intersections, and not always very polite about it. And I'm living that. I don't know, it must be like 40 years since he told me this kind of stuff. I was probably like 5 years old, the age that Addie is now. And so I'm very aware of all the things I'm doing to sort of imprint upon her Daddy's stories. And I really need to make sure I get her up here to the Empire State Building while I'm here. And it's an interesting ride, acclimating to each place you go, getting to know the way they work and such. And I'm still relatively early at this experience, and it's one of the more unique places I worked. But uniqueness is competitive differentiation, and that is what's going on here. And to that end, I've become much more silent on the talking head coding type videos that I love producing, and that I think a large portion of my audience really expects from me. And I'm struggling to get back to them for a variety of reasons, but mostly having to do with that. Given the fact that I'm a one client director, giving all my focus and giving my all, really, on my professional work here in a way that I really can't share in this altruistic GitHub way. Instead, I'm sinking all that energy into proprietary stuff, greatly PowerPoint, a bunch of small documents, and my daily journal I'm writing and keeping, which is another interesting issue because I pulled my main one long page daily journal that was up to, I don't know, it scrolled forever it seems, off of the internet, leaving just a short set of one page plans and my mission and purpose and my normal stuff up there. But it's all still archived in GitHub, and I could turn it back on at any time that I want. Basically, the continuous history persists, and I have creatively avoided hitting the reset button, which is always the danger in these sorts of things, because when you have long-term goals, you have to make sure that one thing leads into the next, and adds to it and builds momentum so that it can eventually carry itself on the force of its own momentum. And that's really what I'm trying to achieve here. It's the kind of thing that my dad did not successfully achieve in his career because there was no such thing in the textile industry, as they were all shutting down the mills here on the Northeast, and all those jobs having to do with running mills moved overseas. So my dad hit a real dead end in his career how to become a check casher of all things, which I had to take over that store upon his passing, but that's a story for another time. But I learned some really good lessons from my old man, and top amongst them is don't go obsolete. Make sure the work that you put into things is preservable, convertible, transformable, whatever. Just make sure that you're not in a dead-end career, and that the skills and the tools of the trade that you learn and master don't suddenly become, you know, the next movable type printing press in a digital world. And don't go naming your product movable type. No, they're still out there. I think they run Huffington Post. With all the talk about WordPress, we forget there's other software. Anyway, I'm just about to work, and this is about the right amount of time for these talking things. So here I am, navigating the next step in my career, figuring out how to bring back the love of coding, the love of Python, the love of the Pipulate project, the love of the SEO and coding community I've started to connect with online. And I described to someone, when I told them, when they asked how many videos I had there, and I said, oh, somewhere around 500, probably more than that now. And I said all these videos, including the one that, you know, was the phenomenon, you know, million view video, perfect timing, Raspberry Pi unboxing. It's all just taking a deep breath in preparation to do the real thing, where I take some time to organize my thoughts. This is all just like the research, the groundwork, a lot of, you know, the taking notes, which I'll mine through and pull out the best bits and turn that into some sort of product that I'll monetize and have a lot more money in my retirement than I ever had in my professional working career, and use that to travel the world and help homeschool, or even if Addie goes into the New York, you know, magnet and charter school system as she finds her love in life. Just always make sure that the opportunities are there to see the world, to educate oneself as a citizen of the planet, to see it from many different perspectives, and to try a lot of different things in life early, front load, so you're not an old man in your mid-40s just realizing how much you can do when you get your act together and have a few experiences behind you. So anyway, that's my ramble for today. Thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon. And don't forget to subscribe.